Welcome to Takeover, the most underrated sports debate show on YouTube. And we are sponsored by the official Takeover Instagram because you guys need to go ahead, follow that, subscribe to the video, like the video, and share it to your friends.
As you know, my name is Josh.
My name is Deandra.
It's your boy Cam, and this is Takeover.
We play it all in night. Yeah, need it all in advance. The opposition know we're ready for it. Like a supper we eating, it won't be the last. Grind out the muscle, pull up. Parker right on the grass. We coming in, take over everything, run it up. Not that holding me back. 3 in the wood.
Well, the NFL playoffs, we're continuing on. Wildcard weekend brought us some really good games and some not so good ones. A lot of collapses, a lot of beautiful moments for cities like Cincinnati. But now we're into the divisional round. We've got 4 games coming up this weekend, and since we're takeover, we have to talk about it. Who you got one in each game? We're going to start off with the Green Bay Packers versus the San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah, you can go.
Okay, so I'm going with the Packers in this one because I feel like Aaron Rodgers is playing his best football as of right now. Devontae Adams is the best receiver in football right now, and I think A.J. Dillon and Aaron Jones are the best 1-2 punch in the backfield. They have the most solid defense, and if we're just going over overall standpoint, they should be the Super Bowl favorites because they're the most balanced team in football. And as much as I love the 49ers, them coming out to Kodak Super Gremlin and just putting it on the Cowboys, I love stuff like that. But this is a reality check for them. I think they see Aaron Rodgers, and it's a totally different game.
So obviously the 49ers would be a bad matchup for anyone because of how physical they are, but I'm going to take the Packers coming off of a bye and having their rest because I think Aaron Rodgers is going to have a really big game, and I don't think Jimmy G is going to be able to keep up with him. When you look at the game against Dallas, even with Dallas playing sloppy and having all of those penalties, they still had a chance to win the game. And Green Bay is one of the least penalized teams in the league. And when you look at Jimmy G in his last 5 games, his interception to touchdown ratio is 5-4, and he hasn't been able to put away teams. If anything, he's given them a chance to come back. And the defense and the run game has really had to carry him, and I don't think that's going to be enough to beat the Packers. And the Packers are really have been amazing, as you said, this season, and the offense is really clicking. And the only problem I think with Green Bay, or really something to worry about, would be their defense, because in the last 3 games, they have allowed over 30 points. But if they can stop or slow down the run and be able to get the Jimmy G, which a lot of teams have been able to do, and keep the ball in Aaron Rodgers' hands, I don't see any problem with the Packers winning. So.
One thing I'll add is Nick Bosa. Nick Bosa had a concussion, and Fred Warner has an ankle injury as well.
Yeah, that was going to be the main reason why you kind of stole my thunder there, Cam.
Sorry.
But so listen, I know I picked what's their name? I know I picked the Niners to be the sleeper team, and part of that was I picked them to beat Dallas because I think a lot of people had Dallas winning. But they should have lost that game. The only reason they lost was Cowboys going Cowboy. QB draw with 12 seconds left still confounds me to this day. But I think it really comes down to the fact that the 49ers have a lot of injuries in their one strength. And relying on Jimmy G to win you a football game is not exactly a winning proposition. So I got Green Bay for the simple fact of Aaron Rodgers is that guy.
So we all pushing P.
Even though Green Bay is missing Jair Alexander for right now and a bunch of other top name guys, I don't think it's going to be enough to really matter.
All right. Before our next game, we have the Bengals and we have the Titans. I think that's going to be a real interesting game. Who do you guys have in that one?
You want to go?
Sure. This to me is the most intriguing game in the playoffs for this week, outside of the Bills and Chiefs, because that's just 2 heavyweights. But that's more of it's just the amount of talent. This one is I don't know where to go because I know I picked the Titans as a sleeper team. I felt like a lot of people were sleeping on them, but every week Cincinnati makes me more and more of a believer. I think Joey B is that guy, and he's only in his 2nd season. I think Joe Shiesty might have this one. I'm going to be honest. I know I just picked the Titans, and I absolutely love the Titans, and I think Mike Vrabel is going to do everything in his power to keep this game close. But when it comes down to it, I think great coaching can only get you so far. When the other team just has that much freaking talent on offense, I don't think it matters.
Okay, so I think it's going to be a tall order. But if the Bengals can take care of the ball and take advantage of every possession – and the offensive line steps up, then I definitely think they have a chance at winning this game. When you're going up against a team like Tennessee that runs and can burn the time off of the clock, the Bengals cannot afford too many possessions where points don't go on the board. And like I said, the offensive line has to step up because with Jeffrey Simmons and the Titans defense, they are playing really good. But even if Tennessee's defense can get to Joe Burrow a couple of times, the offense is still capable of making big plays like you talked about, Josh. And I said the offensive line is one of their weaknesses, but the reason why they have been able to be successful in spite of the offensive line is because how talented Joe Burrow and the wide receiver core is. The Titans are 18 in the league when it comes to yards per pass allowed, and this is a very explosive team, and they can score very quickly. And the Titans aren't really built to score fast and to have big plays unless it's through Derrick Henry, and you can't use him for all of the four quarters. And this team secondary is vulnerable to have teams make big plays on them. And they have had their ups and downs throughout the season. So I definitely think the matchup with Cincinnati's offense and the Titans secondary can be exploited. And the last thing, obviously, the Titans are known to run the ball, and of course, you won't be able to completely stop Derrick Henry, but you can hope to slow him down and force Ryan Tannehill to throw the ball. And in a QB battle, I'm definitely choosing Joe Burrow over Ryan Tannehill. And the offensive line of the Titans are really built for run blocking and not pass protection. So I feel like you're really getting at Cincinnati's the defense of Cincinnati's strength with the pass rushers and getting after the QB, even though they have a couple missing pieces. But anyway, I believe everyone has to be involved to win. You have to have Tyler Boyd, Jamar Chase, and T. Higgins, and once they all get involved, then that opens up opportunities for Joe Mixon and Joe Burrow. So I got the Bengals winning this game.
Guys, I love Joe Shiesty. I love him. I love him. I think I've low key become a fan. And if I see Jamar Chase one on one again, I might just cut the game off because no one can guard him one on one. But King Henry is coming back. Okay? And for 16 weeks, D'Angelo talks about they're heavy on the run. Everyone knows they're going to run, and no one can stop it. Now they get back the best running back in the league. Just last Saturday, we saw Josh Jacobs 13 carries, 83 yards. I think Derrick Henry may bust 150 on this team, especially with Trey Henderson out with concussion. Not to mention, I don't really trust the Bengals DBs to guard A.J. Brown and Julio Jones because all Falcons fans, Julio is good for one of those plays, and I think it's going to come in late in this game where Julio catches a late deep ball because everyone's so tuned in on the run that they don't really expect the pass. That's why, you talk about Joe Burrow versus Ryan Tannehill. Ryan Tannehill is going to make plays because everyone's going to be so sucked in on the run that he's going to have a whole lot of one-on-one opportunities. And as far as the defensive end of the Titans, I'm not really sure I trust the Bengals offensive line with Jeffrey Simmons and Denico Autry combined for 17 and a half sacks this season. So I think ball control is going to play a crucial part of this game. I think the Titans will win the time of possession, and that will make sure they win the game because Joe Burrow won't be on the field to score.
Hey, listen, honestly, this is the game I want to watch the most because I think it's going to be a chess match. But moving on to the next game, we're going to move on to the Rams versus the Buccaneers over in the NFC. What are we looking at? Should we start with the Odell fan?
But I think both teams had a really good games. Obviously, Tampa Bay had a good game against the Eagles, even though they're not particularly a playoff team. And the Rams had a really good game against the Cardinals. I think both defenses have been playing really good. But I think even with the weapons that Matthew Stafford has in Odell and Cooper Kupp, he's still going to have some trouble getting the ball out in the air with Devin White and Tampa Bay's defense. Cam Akers did come back and had a great game against the Cardinals, so that's another piece that they'll be glad to have back. But the main problem with Tampa Bay really has been their injuries. And we know after years and years of watching Tom Brady and how great he is, what is that one thing that is really his weakness and his kryptonite? I think that would be pressure. So when you look at the games like the Super Bowl that he had against the Eagles, he lost because they were able to get pressure on him. The Giants, the same thing. And we saw the Saints make Tom Brady look like a regular, degular quarterback. And Patrick Mahomes in the last year's Super Bowl, where that shows that what pressure can do to a quarterback. It limits you in the things that you can do and the plays you can make. It's not a matter of if Tom Brady can make those throws. It's a matter of will he have time to make those throws. So I'm picking the Rams to win because I think the defense with Aaron Donald and Von Miller and with the physical corner, even with Jalen Ramsey, will pressure Tom Brady and the offensive line of the Buccaneers that already has injuries.
The Bucks have gotten worse since the first matchup, and the first matchup, though, you can arguably say the Rams blew them out. Without having Chris Godwin, you're not really sure if Leonard Fournette's day to day. You lose Antonio Brown. I feel like it's going to be really hard for Tom Brady to trust these new receivers. Jalen Ramsey will be able to cover Mike Evans on the back end, and I believe that Matthew Stafford will be able to make plays when he needs to. I know over the past couple of weeks he hasn't done that, but the last time he faced this defense when they were healthy, he threw for over 300 yards and had 4 touchdowns. Not to mention the leading rusher in this game, well, leading rusher for the Buccaneers in this game was Tom Brady. So I find that very interesting, very intriguing. The fact they had all their guys, and Tom Brady was a leading rusher. So how good is the Rams' run defense? I feel like this is a bit of a mismatch. And I know I don't like to count on Tom, but I'm definitely going with the Rams.
I try to live my life by a specific philosophy, especially when it comes to football. It's not bet against Tom Brady because it seems like every time I do it, it doesn't really work out. But there is way too much wrong with this matchup for Tampa Bay, and I'm picking the Rams for that simple reason. Tampa Bay has way too many injuries, both as you guys are alluding to on the boundary and just on defense in general. With what Levante David, Shaquille Barrett, Sean Murphy Bunting all being some level of banged up. I think it's going to be too much for them to overcome. I think the Rams are much clearly the healthier team, and half the time that's all you really need around this time for football. Not to mention the Rams have a ton of talent on the outside, and I think Tampa's secondary has been suspect all year, and I don't think there's anybody there that can guard OBJ, let alone Cooper Kupp. So I got the Rams on that. I don't trust the Rams fully just yet because I think Matthew Stafford is still a little too hot and cold for my taste, but I think they'll take care of business in this game.
All right, and the last game is going to end it all. Josh alluded to it earlier. 2 heavyweights. We have the Bills and the Chiefs to end off. Who do you guys have winning that game?
Listen, it's the irresistible force meets the immovable object on both sides. I mean, you've got 2 defenses that are playing up to their level of talent. You've got 2 offenses that just put 40 on teams last week. Now, to be fair, they did it on relatively inferior competition, but they are 2 heavyweight offenses that have defenses that can make plays. But there's one glaring issue with the Buffalo Bills team that makes me pick the Chiefs in this game, and that is the absence of Tre'Davious White. Tre'Davious White went down with that big injury, and now because of that, listen, I don't want to hate on the man, but there is no way on God's green earth that Levi Wallace is guarding Tyreek Hill. And if they really want to try to double him with the 2 safeties, Travis Kelce will just go crazy. I think that the Chiefs have this because of that matchup. I think the Bills are still going to put up their numbers, obviously, because, you've got Allen and Diggs and Emmanuel Sanders, Dawson Knox. You have a ton of talent on that side, and the Chiefs are going to give up points. But I think the Chiefs are going to be able to make a few stops. The Bills, I don't think, are going to be able to slow down Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill is going to house a few in this game.
Andrew, it wasn't Josh the one maybe a couple weeks ago. It was like, Chiefs ain't making the play.
Didn't you say that you don't think you have a spot back there anymore, Daniel? So, yes, I am panicking. I do not think that they are going to make the AFC Championship. They might not even make the playoffs this year.
Didn't you say that the Browns were going to make the playoffs?
Who are your early season Super Bowl picks, guys?
So out of the AFC, I'm going with the Browns. Believe it or not, I think the Browns are going to be the team.
Didn't you say Baker Mayfield was an MVP candidate?
Hold on. This is hold on.
I remember that.
The Chiefs ain't making the playoffs. The defense won't get it done. But now you're picking them over your favorites?
Mm-hmm.
Why are you switching out?
Information changes.
I told you by January, if I had to go around the NFL and ask who wants to play the Chiefs in January, nobody would raise their hand. Because they're gonna stay hot because they have the second best quarterback in the NFL behind Aaron Rodgers. You look at what they did last week; they scored 3 touchdowns in 3 minutes. They look it gets scary out there, and they've changed their philosophy. They can be a ground and pound team. Patrick Mahomes will take the check down routes, and I feel like this team can get explosive real fast. The Bills are a very aggressive team, and I feel like this game will end up being close. But I'm just gonna give Patrick Mahomes the edge, and I don't believe Josh Allen can have 2 good games back to back. I think Josh Allen's too good for him. I don't think he's gonna overperform.
All right. I think this is going to be a shootout. They faced off with each other earlier, and the Bills beat the Chiefs. But I think we all know this is a totally different Chiefs team, and it's really hard to be a playoff caliber team twice alone the Kansas City Chiefs. I think the key to this game is going to be which team is going to be better at slowing down the opposing quarterback because they both are really similar to each other when it comes to extending plays. When you think of Josh Allen, he's a lead runner with the football. When you look at Patrick Mahomes, he's just a magician altogether. I also think it's going to matter about which defense is going to be able to get the ball back to their team. Um, the Bills had a great game against the Patriots. I know a lot of people might be siding with the Bills more because, with the issues that the Chiefs had earlier on in the season, they don't think they will be as consistent or they might go cold. But I'll remind you, this Bills team is a Bills team that have been up and down, and they were struggling against the likes of the Jaguars. In their last 11 games, the Chiefs have lost only one game. And don't get me wrong, Josh Allen is great when it comes to the run and throwing the ball. But when I look at Patrick Mahomes is the type of quarterback to where nothing could be going right. Everything's just falling apart, and he'll make nothing out of something. So I'm picking the Chiefs because I'm going off of experience as well. When you look at half of the team or the whole team basically being experienced in going to a Super Bowl. And really, when you look at both of these teams, they're really similar. I mean, they have a really good coach, really good offensive coordinator, two great quarterbacks, and really good weapons. But I'll take the experience and Patrick Mahomes. So
It's sweet for the Chiefs. One thing I will add, Stephon Diggs did watch the Chiefs celebrate the AFC Championship. I would watch out for Stephon Diggs in this game. He
Absolutely.
has something to prove.
Absolutely. I'm gonna watch out for Tyreek Hill too, because I'm telling you, man, this might be some Jamar Chase 200 yards type. Unless they bring something crazy, I don't know.
Okay, well, that's gonna wrap up our episode. You guys have anything to say?
Well, I think I speak for everybody, including MVP candidate Baker Mayfield. When I say
Whistle comes back.
that it's a beautiful day because the Atlanta Braves, as the Thermos says, are still world champions.
Mm-hmm.
And with the lockout continuing and no end in sight, that's going to remain the case for a very long time.
make sure to like the video, subscribe, and send us your takes. We haven't got a lot of takes from you guys. We haven't got any in a while.
There's a simple reason.
Y'all be talking in the comments though.
There's a simple reason. They don't want to bring it to us because they know that we're undefeated and they know that we're undisputed. They don't want to challenge the king because if you come for the king, you best not miss.
Hey, Queen.
So speaking of undisputed and showing up, Takeover loves to show up. And when we have high expectations like we did last year, we expect to go far this year. Unlike your Atlanta Hawks, that Josh said was third seed, would be a third seed.
Facts.
So that's the wrap of our episode. Takeover out.
Yeah, we play it all in night. Yeah, need it all in advance. The opposition know we're ready for it. Like a supper we eating, it won't be the last. Grind all the muscle, pull up. Parker right on the grass. We coming in, take over everything, run it up. Not that holding me back. 3 in the wood, rushing. I don't like Dutch, don't even matter, you know I'm facing. When I roll a paper, I like to go double. Run up a check, flip a W, make it an M. I need